soft ambient sound. Slow aerial shots of old European cities. Church towers. Fog. Narrator, calm, intriguing when you walk through an old European or American city. Look closely at the rooftops, church towers. City halls. Old factories. You'll notice something strange. Metal rods. Unusual wires. Geometric frameworks that seem excessive. Tour guides will tell you they're lightning rods. But that explanation is incomplete, because for a brief moment in history, these towers were doing something else. They weren't just protecting buildings, they were harvesting electricity from the air. In the late 1800s, engineers believed something remarkable, that usable electricity existed naturally between the earth and the sky, and they were right. Even today, science confirms that the atmosphere holds a constant electric field. About 100 to 150 volts per meter of height. That means a tall building, just 10 meters high, sits inside a potential difference of over 1,000 volts. Victorian engineers knew this, and instead of asking if it existed, they asked a different question. Could it be used? This wasn't fringe science. This was serious engineering. Between 1840 and 1920, scientists and inventors across Europe and America filed patents, published papers, and built real systems designed to collect atmospheric electricity, not fantasy. Not speculation, real installations, documented, measured, tested. Scientific journals like Philosophical Magazine and Proceedings of the Royal Society published studies confirming a measurable electric gradient in the atmosphere. Detectable current flow, repeatable results. Even Lord Kelvin himself conducted experiments measuring atmospheric voltage. The science was sound. The question was scale, and this is where architecture becomes evidence. Across Europe and North America, buildings constructed between 1850 and 1910 show strange features. Multiple metal rods instead of one, horizontal conductor networks, thick cables running down into basements, grounding systems far more complex than lightning protection required. Take St. Nicholas Church in Leipzig. Its tower once held a web of copper rods far exceeding lightning safety needs. Archive documents describe it as an electrical experiment installation. Or Vienna City Hall, whose blueprints explicitly reference an atmospheric capture network connected to basement capacitors. Even the Cincinnati Observatory had overhead conductor arrays designed not for safety, but measurement and collection. These weren't decorative, they were functional, and the paperwork still exists. Nathan Stubblefield, 1871, USA. A vertical atmospheric collector using metal plates and grounding rods. Designed to produce usable current. C.F. Farley, 1860, UK. A system using elevated wires and capacitors to store atmospheric charge. French patent 1868 describes rooftop collectors charging Leyden jars for lighting. German patent 1881, a 20-meter metal tower designed to store atmospheric electricity using capacitors. These patents were precise, measured, conservative in claims. They never promised free unlimited power. They promised small, useful energy, and they delivered it. This wasn't theoretical. Some systems actually worked for years. Classical building the Brevoort Hotel, New York, 1890. Used atmospheric electricity to supplement emergency lighting. Cloud with lightning. Blue Hill Observatory, Massachusetts recorded daily atmospheric current measurements for decades. Factory French textile factories used atmospheric collectors to reduce fuel use. Tokyo Tower lighthouses in England used atmospheric systems to maintain backup batteries. These systems produced watts, not kilowatts. But in the 1800s, that was enough. Lighting was dim. Demand was low. Any electricity was valuable. So, why did it vanish? Not conspiracy, not suppression. Simple economics. Steam generators became cheap. Hydropower expanded. Electrical grids appeared, and atmospheric electricity couldn't compete. It was weather-dependent, low output, hard to scale. By the early 1900s, centralized power made it obsolete. The technology didn't fail. It was outgrown. Here's the truth most people miss. Yes, atmospheric electricity is real. Yes, it can be harvested. No, it cannot power cities. The atmosphere contains high voltage, extremely low current. That means High voltage, high potential crossmark, very little energy, even perfect systems only generate milliwatts to watts, enough for instruments. Not enough for industry, and that's exactly what historical engineers found. This matters because today, the topic is often distorted, real history says. Heavy checkmark atmospheric electricity exists. Heavy checkmark it was experimentally used. Heavy checkmark it worked on small scales, but myths claim. Crossmark unlimited free energy. Crossmark suppressed global power systems. Crossmark secret technologies erased from history. Those claims don't match the physics. The real story is more interesting. A forgotten branch of engineering that simply reached its natural limit. So when you see old church towers lined with metal rods, they're not mysterious relics of lost civilizations. They're evidence of a time when engineers explored every possible way to capture energy, including from the sky itself. Atmospheric electricity wasn't magic. It wasn't a conspiracy. And it wasn't useless. It was a real, working technology that belonged to its time, and its story reminds us that innovation isn't always about what lasts, but what leads us forward. If you enjoyed this deep dive into forgotten technology, like the video to support fact-based research, subscribe for more investigations built on real documents, real physics, and real history. And if you want to explore more forgotten technologies, click the next video on your screen. Thanks for watching.